What have you done today, this week, to bring in new students to your school? Okay, so one of the first things I always ask my mentees, or when I'm first speaking to them, is what are you doing to bring students into your school? Now, if it goes quiet and they have to think about it for a few seconds, I know from experience that they haven't got a clear marketing calendar operating and that they're not doing as much marketing as they should do. And as a result, the school isn't as large as it could be, and therefore it's not as successful as a business as it could be. So you need to always ask yourself, what am I doing today, this week, to bring in new students to my school? Simple as that, okay? Think about the biggest businesses in the world. McDonald's, do they still advertise? Okay, I know lots of it's brand awareness. Coca-Cola, do they still advertise? Huge marketing, huge car companies, do they still market? Of course they do. So again, you've got to make sure that, of course, studying businesses, studying successful businesses, understanding businesses, some things work in certain areas that don't work in our particular industry. But at the end of the day, and I mention this a lot, we need to attract a student to our school and we need to keep hold of them forever, for as long as possible. But the first part of that, like I said, is learn to attract a student. Now, if you're sitting in your school, turning up on time, delivering fantastic lessons, brilliant. But that does not mean that you're going to get a flood of traffic to your school. You might even be jealous of a school fairly close to you, not jealous, aware of a school fairly close to you that's got a lot bigger following and you're a better instructor than them, and you're a bit like puzzled thinking, I teach better than them, I've got a better standard than them, why is their school, why are people going to them? Tell you exactly why it is, because they don't know about your school, or they know a lot more about that school and they're a lot more clued up on marketing. Okay, now some of the adverts I get to see with marketing are usually horrendous, but some form of marketing is better than no form of marketing. Okay, so if you haven't now, if you can't think to yourself, right, well, we're doing this today, we're doing this over the next week, we've got this coming up next month, and then, in 3 months it's September or whatever it is, and we always have this big push of this in September, then you're not doing as much marketing as you should do. You should be able to know exactly when you're doing your team training, team meeting every single week, okay, what marketing is taking place that week, because it should have been planned, the week before, and what's also taking place the following week, and just keeping your team. And again, it might be you and your partner, you and maybe a junior instructor, whoever it is that helps you out in the mats, what's coming up and who's doing what and when. Because if you're not getting out and about into the community, if you're not, again, there's so many things you could go into here. Yes, SEO, but again, that could be set and forget. You could pay somebody a couple of £100 a month to do SEO. That doesn't mean you're touching it every week or every month. You're just going to monitor the results. Same with, other bits and pieces like your Facebook ads, your Google ads or anything like that. You're going to pay them probably, unless quite proficient at it. I'd always suggest paying a professional, because obviously that's what their job is. You're going to track and monitor the results and your ad spend and so on. But what things are you actually doing to bring people into your school that isn't so much like what I call, very similar to property terms, set and forget? Am I going out to this particular primary school? Am I doing this talk? Am I going to a community centre that I've got a gathering of X amount of my ideal student type where parents are going to be there? Am I going to this high school? Am I going to attend this Boy Scout or this Girl Scout, thing? You've got to be out and about there all of the time so people understand, this is what you do. And although they might not enroll there and then, they might not inquire, you should be the first person to think of if, and now this is it, if you keep going out and about. One of the great things that used to happen to us was when, obviously we'd ask the team, when we're doing team training, we'd always say, so, Mrs. Smith, how did you find out about us? And if they replied saying, are you joking? You guys are everywhere. That was fantastic for team training, okay? Because it meant that we were getting them everywhere. A bit like, Grant Cardone used to mention, about omnipresence. Are you here? Are you there? Are you there? Everywhere they look, are you there? Now, again, I'm not going to turn this into a marketing video, definitely not, but it's more about understanding your mindset and adopting what I'd obviously call mind black belt methods to improving your martial arts school. What am I doing this week to make sure that on Wednesday and or Saturday, or whenever I have my intro slots, that they are maximum capacity? What am I doing over the next month to ensure that I'm getting the number of inquiries that I need to generate the number of enrollments that I need? So if I want 10 enrollments a month, which you should be getting a lot more than that, if I want 10 enrollments a month, I need to probably be doing 15 or 20 things, knowing that 2 or 3 of them are really going to be killing it and get a lot of traffic. 4 or 5 of them might be absolutely pointless, but you know, the others are going to bring in a trickle of leads. So you should be aware of, this is how many enrollments I want to get at the end of this month or the end of this quarter. In order for me to meet this, I need to then reverse engineer it. I need to be doing all of this stuff, because what's going to happen is your marketing is going to be here, this type of I've got this much marketing going on, and then getting them actually down to the school, the number's going to drop like that. Getting them down into a second lesson, the number's going to drop like that. Getting them down to the enroll will then go like that. So no matter how big you want this number, reverse engineer it, knowing that at each stage you're going to lose certain people. So again, once you start looking at it at a micro level, you're then going to work out, right, where am I losing most of it? Is it from the first to the second lesson? Is it from an inquiry to getting them to show up? Like I just said, is it from first to second lesson? Is it from second lesson to enrolment? What's going on at the enrolment conference? Am I only having it with one parent, and therefore they're using the excuse of, well, I need to speak to mum and or dad before I can make any decisions? Then you never see them again. So we've all been there, okay? Any problems or any missed opportunities you've had in your school, any failures you've had in your school, I can guarantee I've made it over and over again in the early days before I started to learn and treat it like a proper business. So I mention this a lot, and again, if this is one of the first videos you've watched of me, make sure, if you're serious, you invest in a copy of one of my books there, How to Build a Highly Profitable Martial Arts School. Okay, so How to Build a Highly Profitable Martial Arts School, available on Amazon, £13, £14, I don't know what it is, £15. You're not serious if you haven't bought a copy of that book yet, okay? Simple as that. You're not serious if you've not invested in a copy of that book. You're not serious if you haven't watched a few of these videos either. If you found this channel and you've watched this video and you know that you need help and you haven't got in touch yet, then that's entirely up to you, okay? So to summarize then, that main video was, or this quick video was really, you need to make sure, excuse me, that wasn't very professional of me, was it? You need to make sure you're doing things that are taking you a step further forward every single day. And in order for you to step forward every single day, it means your school needs to grow. And in order for your school to grow, it means enrollments. And in order for you to get enrollments, this is what we're working at, we need to make sure lots of marketing activities is going on. And again, don't forget that if I've got, let's say, easy maths, 100 inquiries, getting them to the first lesson, that might drop by 50%. So now I've got 50 people coming in for a first lesson. Get them to the second lesson, there shouldn't be a big drop off there. If there is, there's something wrong in that first lesson. Say you lose 10, so now I've got down to 40. No, let's do it even worse. Let's say you lose 50% of them, which is horrendous. I've only now got 25 people coming down for a second lesson, and then another horrendous statistic. Let's divide it in half again. I'm only going to get 12 and a half, 13 enrollments from that 100 inquiries. So this then boils down to you. Have you got the stats that you could look back over to see how many inquiries will generate how many enrollments, and again, where it is, which parts of the process need tweaking? Like your martial art, you know, if you're a kata person, sparring person, or whatever it is, you need to understand, you know, I've got all of this, I've got strength in this area, but I'm quite weak in that area. And those weak areas will expose, in you and your martial arts school, how many students you enroll, and on the flip side, how many you retain, okay? So listen, good luck, but if you're serious about leveling up, if you're serious about making better decisions about your martial arts school, or indeed your life, because I do talk a lot about mindset and grit, perseverance and so on, and getting people into decent habits, then apply for mentorship, okay? So good luck. The link, maybe check it in the comments box below. If not, have a look on the website, dervishdervish.com. And one more thing, it's not for me to get the £4.50 or £5 off Amazon, whatever it is that we get. It's to help you in your school. If you're serious, invest in a copy of that, How to Build a Highly Profitable Martial Arts School. Lots of information there from you, from somebody who's been there and done it, okay? And it helped me build another couple of successful businesses as well. Good luck. Take care.